Hey there, Adrienne Elise here. Welcome to the Gaia Daily for December 16th through 19th. So here we are, and we've been feeling the sun in Sagittarius in square to Neptune. We've been having mutable square after mutable square after mutable square, bringing us back to the 2020 energies of being stuck in between worlds, timelines, nowhere to go, everything you thought you were working for, not working. And um, we're revisiting this place. Now we can feel a different energy and a preparation for what's to come. We're going to be feeling this shift. So it was yesterday, the 15th, that the sun was an exact square to Neptune. And now this weekend, the sun will be going over the Galactic Center. And so these two events together, and Mercury just did this, and Venus just did this. And so we are having a whole bloom of this energy, the Sagittarius energy of the quest, the purpose, the expansion, the growing, the evolution, the story of the epic story. And then with the sun in square to Neptune, it's about grief from the past over where we haven't been true to our true path. And we got stuck in the story of the story. So, because it's like our true spiritual path, if we want to talk about it, the difference between these things is um, this is a project we've been working on from the very beginning of time, really, but the beginning of this evolution. I've been seeing again and again supernova souls being present energetically for the creation and the plan of Earth and the vision, the original vision of what Earth wants to become. And you carry this in your DNA. And so this Sagittarius galactic center energy always brings up this energy of feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm not doing what I'm here to do. I haven't fulfilled my purpose. I've got to get on my quest. It's like, I got to do it. What am I doing here? The bigger picture of our spiritual purpose rather than survival mode here in this realm. But then Neptune in Pisces represents the stories that have we've gotten stuck in the past. And especially with the sun involved, we're talking about our identity constructs. And this is where we did not complete what we were trying to play out in a past life. And then we end up having feeling stuck in the timeline, part of ourselves. It's like a part of our soul is stuck in that timeline. But the energies of this astrology at this time and coming up are about coming into our body and fully embodying here. Basically, we've got to gather up all of these pieces of ourselves. And we've been working on it, right? But this is profound because we're preparing, and there's this energetic preparation. I'm sure you can feel of Jupiter now direct, getting ready to move back into Aries. And this is a fresh new start for humanity. This is an opportunity if we want to take it individually, we'll see collectively, but supernova souls know that they've been preparing for lifetimes, and it's about time to get this show on the road. So this Jupiter moving over the Aries point is this Aries zodiac, and where Jupiter is now at the 29 degrees Pisces, the death process, the end. And so with all of these transits with the sun right now in Sagittarius around our quest and our greater purpose, um, we are feeling lost and confused about this. And yet, this energy of anticipation and preparation for something that's coming. So, as the sun comes, now the sun next week for the solstice will be an exact square to Jupiter as Jupiter moves over this Aries point, beginning of spring. And this Aries point I've talked about being very important for Jupiter because Jupiter and Saturn came together here and made the greatest conjunction that moves from the sign of the fishes to the ram to the fishes. Um, Aries and Pisces, a very powerful place astrologically. And to have Jupiter go over this place, Jupiter is represents the future expansion. It's the new king, it's the new energy, it's the Messiah it's bringing us into the future and expanding us into our true human potential. So in Aries, it's about let's get up and go. And there's incredible energy building that has been happening because of Chiron in Aries around where we have not stood up and fought for ourselves in the past, where we've rolled over and played dead, where we gave away our life and our life force again and again to this bullshit matrix paradigm over lifetimes. So Jupiter going over this Aries point is, on the one hand, bringing us this big energy of rebirth and like, let's go. It's a fresh, brand new start. It's literally what we've been shown this whole year. We've been talking about is an anchoring in of this divine timeline. That timeline we've been working on since the beginning of time. And that was crucial in the events that happened at the last shift of ages. So now is the next chapter. And the message for supernova souls is can you let yourself receive this next chapter? Can you rewrite these stories? Because it's not trauma and drama. And we got to drop that shit. But on some level, and this is the sun, our identity constructs are attached to those stories. It's who we think we are. And I know it gets exhausting talking about it all the time. But we're really in a very powerful process, and the astrology is speaking to us. And so the message of this Jupiter going over the Aries point is like, if you want it and you're ready, it's here for you. Full embodiment, this a new timeline, a divine timeline, an optimal timeline. But it's so different than where we've been, and we need a huge adjustment. And that's maybe why we're going through all these mutable squares. But the sun in square to Neptune and then square to Jupiter, the sun square to Jupiter will happen. They're already in the square, and they won't be exact until they're at 0 degrees, Capricorn and Aries. But they are technically in square at the end degrees of these mutable signs as well. And isn't that interesting? Now, the sun in square to Jupiter. Now, this is going to happen on the 21st, 22nd exact, but they're in square already, and they're in square very close to exact for the solstice. That's when Jupiter on the 21st moves over into Aries. And so this massive transition is happening. But again and again, you'll see these patterns in astrology where it's like the square with the sun is holding us back. And so the square with the sun at just coming out of the end degrees of Sagittarius is speaking to where we've gotten off our path. Jupiter at the end degrees of Pisces, the personality constructs and stories of the Piscean Age, the traumas, the dramas, the programming, the fear programming that have kept us from being able to make this leap. See, it's like a perfect story unfolding. And that's where we say, wait, are we in the story? Or are we participators? Or are we just victims of this experience? So, this is the moment where we can choose to embody on a more complete level. And I hope you can consider joining the soul group session for the uh, for the solstice. We get to do it at the exact time, which is very exciting. That happens to be, and the soul group session will start at 2 p.m. Mountain Time on December 21st. And so, um, very powerful to because this sun square Jupiter just before Jupiter, as Jupiter makes this leap, is this like, oh no, you don't. There's these energies from the past holding you, but then the sun moves into Capricorn. And Capricorn and Aries are cardinal signs, which are the starters, the instigators, moving out of the mutable, like adjusting and changing and moving. And so you don't know who the hell you are and what you're doing. And so now it's about direction and it's about purpose and moving into um, coming out of this feeling of getting back in the game, I guess. But it's getting back in the game as a divine counterpart, as a co-creator, not as an ego trying to make something happen that has to do with some lifetime that you didn't fulfill what you thought you needed to do, 20 lifetimes ago. It's like that's no longer going to work for us. And so the forward motion is about embodiment, about bringing in these parts of ourselves that have been divergent and stuck in the past, um, anchoring into our body. We're talking spiritual ascension. It sounds like we're lifting up, but really it's about anchoring into our body. And it may be that a lot of the spiritual training and work out there that's only operating in the higher chakras is actually a trap to keep us never ever able to go into our full potential, because we've got to embody and orient in our lower chakras. We have to come back into permission and access to our power, and we have to be connected to the earth electromagnetically if we're going to fly. And so this Jupiter going over the Aries point, square the sun, it's like a squeezing moment. It's like a portal. It's like, oh, I see one little point of light. And it's like you want to go in, come out the other side on a brand new timeline or a new life, fresh new start. This is what's available to us. And we've been waiting for it. And of course, it's a moment in time, but it represents. Now, it's interesting though, because the sun in square to Jupiter as Jupiter moves over into Aries is this tension. And it's tension around the stories of the past, our false personalities, our ego constructs. And Jupiter's like, the new timeline can't support those. Drop that shit now, right? We're at the finish line and we're at the start gate at the same time. And so that when that releases the square around Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, it's like that slingshot energy of like shooting off into the future, into that fresh new start. This, you'll start to feel it. And I know supernova souls are this energy of this astrology and this quickening that's happening. And that's why we need to use this time to prepare. We're going to have incremental shifts kind of landing us on this new timeline as we move into the new year. First of all, let's just talk through this because this weekend we've got the sun on the Galactic Center activating our greater dreams and purpose and grief around where we let all that go to survive and do what everybody else wanted to do around us. So we could be a part of the group, you know? And then also this weekend, we've got Venus in square to Chiron. Now, this is really powerful because if we want to understand the Aries energy we're moving into, just for the next 5, 6 months, Jupiter cruises through Aries. It's gonna, um, it took Jupiter went retrograde at 8 degrees Aries, and so it won't be until it gets back to 8 degrees until this really kicks in. And then it's going to cruise through and move into Taurus in May. So we want to really use this time of Jupiter and Aries to instigate and to be present and to say yes to this new timeline, to this new fresh start, and to be ready to move forward and find that direction or not. Just keep being. It's been such a challenging time for supernova souls with this feeling of like your whole life and lifetimes there's something bigger you need to do, and yet this last couple of years of total confusion, it was like you felt like you were on your path, but literally we've had like 2 years of derailment. And that's really powerful to talk about too, because we're coming back in January to like 2 years from when we first started feeling the Saturn square Uranus transit. And so that happening at the same time as these incremental shifts into movement, momentum, power, freedom, autonomy, sovereignty. It's a very powerful moment for us to take advantage of. We don't want to sleep through this one. And maybe that's why we've been jolted awake. So now let's talk about Chiron, because Chiron in Aries tells us everything. And Jupiter will come up to Chiron in mid-March. It's a very powerful marker. And that's kind of like, oh, this is what this is about. This is what Jupiter in or this is what Chiron and Aries is about, and this is what this whole season is about, and what we need to do to get over this hump and make this leap. The stars are playing it out for us exactly. And because Chiron is our deepest wounds, and in Aries, it's like where we gave our life force away, where we died, where we were killed, where we chose um, life over but our truth, but then had to suppress our energy, our voice, our expression. It's the fight for life and freedom. It's what the human organism needs to do right now. We've been backed into a corner, and it is maybe it's a blessing that we are being given this opportunity at this crucial moment in time for a massive turnaround where we're up against the wall and the situation necessitates our activation of our life force that we didn't know we had. This miracle healing power right in our very own body, the energy that creates worlds. But we've been giving it away, allowing our power and energy to hold in place the manifest constructed reality, or maybe you could call it a matrix. And so um, there's deep shame coming up around where we have given over our power. And for supernova souls and advanced souls, there's a lot of shame coming up around where we have been so human and we know that we're such stars. But isn't this the whole story of this place? So we've got to forgive ourselves and understand that this is all a learning process and like step into the vulnerability, the of the naked of the feeling of we get somewhere. I mean, we came here for our full evolution, our full expression, and we've had to go through what we've had to go through to get here. And that's a powerful place that you can see from the top of the Capricorn mountain after all the hard work that you've done and finally being able to look over the edge and know that it was all worth it. Once you achieve the ecstasy and experience of fully living, there's a reason why it's the living waters, the living Christ, because we have been mostly dead. And supernova souls basically hanging out with the dead. And you're so good and adept at working with other dimensions and fields. And now it's time for us to embody, take our power back, and be present, fully present in our experience and claim on every level to inhabit this body so that no other forces can use it. At the same time, inhabiting our mind, clearing out the hive mind, the programming, the conditioning, the implants, the nanotech. We have the power to interrupt and cleanse and heal all of it with Mother Nature's movement through us as our vital force, this healing force. It's a miracle and it's more powerful than any medicine or supplement out there. And so we need to be pushed to the point where we, out of necessity, have to get our freaking shit together and save ourselves. This is on all levels. This is the message with all of this energy of Chiron and Aries. Now Mercury just made a square with Chiron and Aries, and Mercury is starting a retrograde cycle. So it's that interesting juxtaposition. But this Mercury retrograde cycle is actually like, oh wait, it's time. I got to get up and go. Wait, what am I even doing? I'm not prepared. I've been wallowing in my own misery for far too long, you know? And so now we got to pick ourselves up, dust ourselves off, and get on with it. And this Mercury retrograde happens December 29th. Mercury turns retrograde at 24 degrees Capricorn, just a couple degrees before reaching Pluto in Capricorn. So this whole story is playing out, and Mercury will take a retrograde. It's over 2.5 months in Capricorn, and then finally, at the end of all that, come back into a conjunction with Pluto. And I don't think I have that one written down when that happens. So, but this is very powerful because Pluto is being highlighted And actually this weekend very powerfully, because we know we're having this opposition with Pluto and Black Moon Lilith in Cancer and Pluto in Capricorn. They're exact at 27 degrees. 2 and 7 is 9, talking about this completion energy. Like, get that feminine out of the gutter for good. Right? She keeps running back to hide down there, right? We can't have that. Whew. But listen to this. The sun this weekend on the Galactic Center is at the end of 26 degrees, pretty much 27 degrees. And this is exactly where Black Moon Lilith and Pluto have been in their signs. So the sun at the Galactic Center, and this has just happened with Venus, just did this, and Mercury just did this, and now the sun. And this is powerful because this is exactly one sign over from Pluto at 27 degrees, the sun on the galactic center in Sagittarius. So, speaking of destiny of Pluto, now heading into Aquarius, Pluto will move into Aquarius in March 2023, only to 0 degrees, but still, this is the turning of the tide. This is the tipping of the scales. And Pluto and Capricorn about external authoritarian structures. Pluto and Aquarius, it's about the power of the people and the power of humanity. So we are making a massive shift. And this is all highlighted this weekend. It's like, bam, you guys, hello. You're in assimilation and here's your way out. And so the sun in that exact semi sextile, one sign over from Pluto in Capricorn. And then directly opposite of Pluto and Capricorn is Black Moon Lilith, our deepest, darkest secrets and hidden parts of our consciousness, particularly around the feminine, in Cancer. We're speaking of the wound of separation. And until we heal this wound, we can't get out of this mess. And what that means is that the sun on the galactic center is in an inconjunct relationship that's directly across but one sign over, an inconjunct relationship with Black Moon Lilith in Cancer. And that an inconjunct is about an adjustment that needs to be made. It's like, something's off askew. And it's telling us to get back on our quest. We've got to heal that feminine and we've got to come out of that wound of separation. I mean, we know we're not separate. Science has actually proven it to us. When are we going to stop living that delusion or dying that delusion and start living again? And that's what this is all about. So Mercury in Capricorn Mercury's our mind, our conceptual reality, and it's in Capricorn retrograde. It's always about rethinking, reimagining, reprogramming, and Capricorn is all about that external structures of authority. And so now it's about taking back our mind from the mind control. And this power of this healing, this miracle energy that lives within us, that animates us, we own it. It's our, as a human soul in a body, we have direct access to this creation energy that puts us at the top of the totem pole. We are the highest authority of the land. When are we going to start acting like it? What's it going to take? We got to pass a law. I don't think that's working anymore. I mean, we've been shown again and again that the systems are all corrupt. And our body systems are being corrupted as well. Luckily, we have miracles and we have this incredibly powerful vital force that heals all and corrects all. The vital force is in that divine timeline energy. The vital force is the force that animates life and the force that heals our body and heals ourself and keeps us alive, our energy body. And it's the same as the life force of the universe that creates worlds. This is so powerful when it's moving and it's self-correcting and will heal all. It's just that we've been cut off from our own source, living the delusion of separation. And so it's time for this life force to flow again. And particularly in our mind, Mercury is saying we've got to break free of all of the external mind control energies, and we're all under mind control. We have been so programmed, so propagandized, so gaslit, so lied to, and it's just insane. And when you begin to open up to the greater truths, which are like apparently just one little tiny piece, like we're all going to have our mind blown if the greater truth completely comes out, and even if just a small portion of it comes out. And then how does the human psyche handle that? We've been told we're just this little speck, and we're just useless eaters and feeders, and we're just here to be slaves. This is We've been programmed through fear over many lifetimes to never ascend, to never go near our light body, to our natural spiritual evolution. And this has been held back for long enough now. Because there's so many people awake on the planet, and there's so many like full-blown masters that don't even need a body in a body for this here present. So there's no way this isn't happening. And you're on the cutting edge, supernova soul, carving a path, allowing, stepping into this fight right here, right now, into this. Now, this is interesting because it's like we're talking about the fight that the organism goes through at the when it's put into the corner, when it's has to fight, when it gets to that place of necessity of like, oh, we got to muster our energy now, right? It's like almost like procrastination. It's only until it's a life or death situation that we're going to make the changes we need to make. And so that's this fight. And Aries is ruled by Mars, our warrior. And so we are in this battle, and this is speaking to you because all these Chiron transits, these squares that we just felt with Mercury, now Venus, then the sun will come into that. Um, Jupiter will make a conjunction with Chiron in the spring. And so but Chiron right now, these squares have all happened at 11 degrees. Chiron has made it back to 11 degrees where it will turn direct. Chiron turns direct on the 23rd of December, the same day as the Capricorn new moon. Now, the Capricorn new moon happens at 1 degree 33 minutes. So here's our fresh new start energy, cardinal signs, fresh new start, Jupiter moving into Aries, landing the new timeline. Um, but Chiron turning direct at 11 degrees and these squares at 11 degrees, because 11 is a number of facing off. And it's like, okay, I'm not going to let you take over my power anymore. It's also a number of a portal to a whole new dimensional energy. It's beginning to create a portal. And so we've got this energy of fighting for our life force, taking it back so that we can slip through to another the to a better timeline, which is actually supporting our evolution now, finally. So that Chiron direct is powerful at 11 degrees because this is one of the incremental shifts we're feeling that are like amping up the energy and giving us permission to go, to get up, to change, to make it happen, to claim back our life and our psyche and our mind and our thoughts and our emotions. Um, and so this weekend, Sun Galactic Center, Venus square Chiron. Now, Venus square Chiron is, ooh, and that happens exact on Monday, actually. And this is our feminine in Capricorn, speaking to female power in square to Chiron. So, where the female power has been restricted, killed, mutilated, um, and buried. So it's Venus is ready to release herself from the chains and be free, to be the beautiful fountain that she is again. Now, then next week we have the solstice. The solstice is on Wednesday, and that's the day that Jupiter moves into Aries and the sun moves into Capricorn in square to each other. It's so epic and it's so powerful because it's like going from 29 degrees of Pisces, the end, the death, 29 degrees of Sagittarius is an epic desire for completion of the path and the journey of this, like, I've got to get on with my spiritual purpose. It's a blooming of the Sagittarius energy. And so it's like this, but then the personality constructs of the Piscean age that are holding us back, and all of the beliefs, programming, fear programming. And it's like that tension there. Very powerful moment. When you look at astrology charts, the squares and oppositions, the tension transits in our birth chart, that's our get up and go. That's our pressure to change and move and complete karma. And this square, and then leading into the release of Jupiter moving forward into Aries, is just, I don't even know how to describe the energy. And that's will be so wonderful for us to be together at the exact time of solstice, to experience that, to be present. The soul group sessions are about looking at shared past life pictures of supernova souls so that we can get the information and clearing and healing and activation that can help us, just being fully present with the energies, so that we can take full advantage. And this week, okay, so from the whole week from the 20th to the 23rd, we're feeling Mars. This is very sweet energy. Mars in Gemini is retrograde, and we're feeling this. It's like we're going backwards. We've got this anticipation for a big leap forward, but we're still going backwards. Mercury hasn't even started its retrograde, and Mars is still retrograde. But Mars is coming to 11 degrees of Gemini, which puts Mars in a sextile relationship with Chiron at 11 degrees Aries. And so this is one of those mystical, magical things. And we got to keep this. It's like the tension, the squares bring the tension and the pushing us. The sextiles, the trines bring the little, well, it could be magical and sweet, and it could change it for the better quicker than you can imagine. And these are the messages that are coming through, and that's this. So this is exact sextile between Chiron and Aries and Mars from the 20th for the 23rd. So right now we're feeling Venus, and then as that Venus square Chiron comes off, Mars comes into the sextile. We're already feeling Mars and sextile to Chiron. So really sweet energy, because the sextiles are about solutions, creative solutions that can jimmy the lock of reality. So we've got our warrior retrograde at 11 degrees, lost lost his voice. He's just beaten himself up for all the times that he wasn't able to stand up for himself and be strong and confident. But at 11 degrees, ready to go to war, but in a retrograde. So it's a war within, and it's that lower self and our higher self. And they're like, and now this tipping of the scales, that life force flowing through, this new life energy, this fresh new start coming in, moving the vital force, making it easier and easier to disregard the programming and the mind and the energies of the lower self, making room for this embodiment. All this mutable squares and this ego death stuff has been making room for your true self to land. And that's exactly what this astrology is speaking to with Chiron as well. And so pretty powerful, because Chiron then turns, so they're exactly sextile from the 20th to the 23rd through the solstice and through the square with Jupiter square. And then um on the 23rd, the sextile goes to the 23rd, and then so that's right when Chiron turns direct. So Mars sextile Chiron as Chiron turns direct is pretty powerful. And it's giving Mars hope for the rest of his retrograde and excitement for what's to come when the explosion of expression comes. And that's part of these incremental changes we're talking about. So we've got our solstice energy. Then on the 23rd is the new moon in Capricorn, Chiron turning direct, and that sextile with Mars saying, We got to figure out how to fight our way through this. Not in the old way. We got to figure out how to fight our way through this. Not in the old way, though. The inner battle, not an outer battle. The battleground is right here in our psyche. We're in a psychological war because they're feeding on our misery and pain. So we somehow got to muster this strength, this spark within us, and go to those places in our consciousness and be like, I'm not going to be your puppet. I'm not going to be triggered by this. I'm going to choose. I'm going to be present. I'm here. I am source. I can be in my own mood, energy, and reality. So, this is what this astrology is asking us to do, to stand up and fight for our life and our life force, and that we have no other choice. And yet we've already won. And so we got the whole bunch of energy with the new moon and Chiron direct, and that's then the sun square Jupiter will still be happening, but then on Christmas Day that comes off. And then we're going to be Mercury turns retrograde on the 29th. Mars will still be retrograde. And then so we're going to be in that holy nights period of time, just the in between energies of these timelines. It's like, yeah, we see the new, it's there, but we're still in the old, but it's just a time of rest and peace, recovery and preparation. Because on January 12th, Mars turns direct. That's going to really shift the energy. And then in February 11th, Jupiter comes out of retrograde shadow. Mercury will be completing its retrograde shadow February 7th. And it's just like pump up the volume because we're going to have all planets direct. And we're going to have Jupiter in Aries ready to. And so it's kind of like finally being able to plan and make moves and make stuff happen. But it's going to be so much more in alignment than what it would have been before this last couple of years. Right? We had to just be lost and do all this inner work so that we could rebirth at this moment. And the Capricorn energy is helping us just put one foot in front of the other, just keep moving, just go slow, but keep moving and tread carefully, but keep moving. And that's kind of the energy. It's an inner movement as well, though, with this retrograde energy. Our major planets are all direct now, and um, except for Uranus after Chiron turns direct. But with Mars and Mercury still retrograde and sorting that out, that's our personal planets, right? And so this is our time of preparation. Mars comes out of retrograde shadow March 15th. And that's right around the time that Jupiter comes into that exact conjunction with Chiron. And it's like, boom, game on. And then you better run with it. And so these next couple of months, oh, wait, I'm finally seeing beyond the fog, right? And um, it's a time to be present and align as we embody. And then it's going to be so much easier to align our life with our greater purpose and with our truth and to move forward in just the right way rather than spinning around in circles in the ego death experience that we've been in for the last couple of years. We had to completely rearrange and let go of everything to make room for what's coming. And are you going to say yes to this? Are you going to receive this? Do you deserve it? That's this Black Moon Lilith in Cancer. It's like, oh, you know, the separated, alone, cast aside, disgraced feminine. How does she come and turn that shit around, flip the tables, and step into her massive abundance? So it isn't a time yet of outward action, but wow, is there a battle and a, a victory happening within, and one a powerful energy, and I'm blessed and honored to be a part of it with you. So thanks for following and being part. This astrology, the story is just like such a profound play and so helpful to get us out of those other stories and get us out of the programming, you know. And the astrology is speaking to us and saying, hey, over this way. And put your attention here on this power of the miracle force within you. And I know it's hard when you're feeling down, feeling sick, or feeling low energy. So many people are struggling in their physical body right now with Mars retrograde, but maybe it's putting you in that corner to say, I'm taking it back, all my power, all my life force. And the physical body and health is a good way to start, you know? So I look forward. Hopefully, you can join us for the Supernova Soul Group session that's happening at the exact time, leading into the exact time of solstice. The exact time is at like 2:48 Mountain Time, and the activation will be at 2 p.m. Mountain Time. So that'll give us the perfect amount of time to get into the depth of this, not an activation, soul group session, this past life reading. Um, right at the exact time of this solstice. And what an honor to be with you. So I hope you'll consider joining that. The information to sign up is in the information box below. And I look forward to seeing you there. And just stay present, stay awake for these powerful moments. Claim your fresh new start and your awakening and your embodiment and your spiritual evolution. There's a doorway opening if you're ready. And you've had lifetimes in this whole evolution of preparation, right? So let's go into that fresh new start. I look forward to seeing you soon on the next update. Hopefully, that supernova soul group session for the solstice. Until then, I'm Adrienne Elise. Namaste.